Hi guys, it's Dylan from Bijou Diamond Jewellery in London with another watch review, and today we're looking at the Patek Philippe Nautilus 5980 in rose gold. Let's cast our mind back to 1972, where Audemars Piguet released the Royal Oak, which was the first super luxury steel sports watch with high-end finishing that never been seen before. That version was in steel. The original one was actually in white gold. People didn't really get the piece at first because they thought, why would someone want to spend that much money on a steel watch when they can have, for a little bit more, a full gold watch? Regardless, the Royal Oak did pretty well, and 4 years later, after the Royal Oak was released, Patek Philippe released the Nautilus, again a super high-end luxury sports steel watch. The reason the Royal Oak and the original Nautilus was so expensive was because steel was so difficult to manufacture and polish and brush because it was so hard. Fast forward 30 years to 2006, when Patek revamped the whole Nautilus line and released the 5980, a chronograph version of the Nautilus released as an anniversary piece. The 5980 was a special piece as it used a new in-house movement. Patek Philippe has always been famous for beautifully finished cases and bracelets. Such attention to detail and absolute perfection all round. The brushed and polished surfaces look stunning. The bracelet is like a piece of jewellery in itself. So silky smooth and just sits so well on the wrist. The beveled edges really light up this piece. It looks stunning on the bracelet and on the case as well. The piece has the most incredible presence on the wrist. It's so heavy. On some of the AP rose gold pieces like the Royal Oak Chrono, I find it's almost a little bit light for its size, whereas this feels super heavy, really solid. I have felt the 5726 and 5711 steel, and I find they're a little bit too light. They feel almost, not fake, but they feel not really substantial, they don't really feel solid. And when you think about the price tag you're paying for some of these Nautiluses, you know, for example, the 5726 may be around 32,000 to 33,000 pounds for a new one, and it really feels like you're picking up a swatch because it's so light. Again, the finishing is incredible on the bracelet and it looks amazing, but on your wrist it really doesn't feel like you're wearing something that expensive. Whereas the Royal Oaks, I really do feel like you're getting what you pay for. I feel they've got much more heft and they feel much more solid. For me, that was a bit of a disappointment when I felt the steel Nautiluses. However, this is totally different. The rose gold really feels solid. And it definitely feels like an expensive piece, which it is. If you compare this case to the case of a 5712, for example, or a 5711, it's so much deeper and much thicker. It feels much more chunky, much more of a solid sports watch feel. There's a real sense of occasion when you put this on. The gold is incredible. Such a glow to it. It's really warm colour. The Nautilus design is based on a porthole. As you can see either side, we have the ears of the porthole. The left side of the watch case almost looks like a hinge, and that's to replicate where the porthole would open or hinge open. One thing I'm not really a fan of on this piece is the fold over clasp. I just think it looks a little cheap. It doesn't really feel very solid, it's quite thin. I think it breaks up the stunning design of this bracelet, almost doesn't really look in place. The polished center links are almost like a bubble effect. I really like it. Okay, so some of the features of this piece are, main feature is chronograph, but it's not any type of chronograph, it's a flyback chronograph, meaning that instead of having to start the chronograph and stop it and then reset it, you can press the reset button while it's moving. The dial is very different to most chronographs in the fact that it doesn't have the standard 3 subdials like a Royal Oak chronograph or a Daytona. Patek wanted to design the piece with a minimalistic style, and the dial reflects this. They didn't really want to cluster the dial with 3 subdials, so they decided to create one large subdial at 6 o'clock and combine everything into that one subdial. If we take a closer look at the subdial at 6 o'clock, we can see the outer side of the dial represents a 30-minute cycle. The larger hand in this subdial will pass through this cycle twice to reach 60 minutes. This second sweep is indicated by the smaller numbers on that outer ring. The larger numbers indicate the initial sweep, or first 30 minutes. Right in the center of the subdial, you'll see a cluster of smaller numbers from 1 to 12. That represents your chronograph hours. The small hand takes care of that. The 5980 doesn't have a small second subdial like most other chronographs do. This means in normal time when the chronograph isn't running, it doesn't actually show seconds passing. Another unique feature on this watch is the way you change the date. Usually on a watch you access the date window via the crown, but on this piece you have a pusher on the left hand side of the piece. The pusher is very easy to use. You just push it in and keep cycling through the numbers as if you were turning the crown. The dial on this piece is stunning. It goes from a lighter grey in the centre to like a darker grey on the edges. The 5980 comes in a couple options. So here we see the full rose gold on the bracelet. It also comes in a rose gold with a brown dial and a leather strap. It comes in a rose and steel combination with a blue dial, and the older version which is all steel on a bracelet with a blue dial, and also that came in a white dial as well. Thank you so much guys for tuning in. If you want to see more Pateks, then let us know in the comment section. This piece is available to buy from us, so don't hesitate to contact us for prices and delivery information. We can also get other Pateks, so if you're interested in another piece from their collection, then let us know. We can get you a price for that too.